I'm live. I'm live. I'm live. Kill it. So, earlier today, I posted that I wanted to do a little AMA. I'm drinking some crappy ass Miller Lite. So, let's go. First question, Mega Dads. Who do you think's going to win The Bachelorette? Now, I don't know shit about The Bachelorette, so I opened up the webpage and there's Becca Coffrin, whatever. She looks kind of cute. So let's go through the contestants. Alex looks like a Tom Brady knockoff. Blake, I don't know. I think he's into Chase, and Chase, anybody with the name of Chase shouldn't win. Then we got Christian, and Chris Stone. Chris isn't going to win. He doesn't know how to shave, and she doesn't seem like she likes that chaff up against her thighs, if you know what I'm talking about. And Christian and Chris Stone, their names are too close. She's going to confuse them. She's going to say the wrong one to the wrong guy. Clay, Colton, and Connor. What's with all the C's? Out of the three of those, Connor, his hair looks like a bad Guido. Colton looks like maybe he could have came out of the 80s. You put like a bad leather jacket on him. And so let's keep Clay in it for now. Darius' forehead's too high. David looks like he should be hosting a talk show. Grant just looks like a doofus. Why is everybody smiling like this? It looks fake as hell. Garrett, Jake, Jason, they all look awful. Jean Bloc, I don't know. He's got creepy eyes, man. Creepy eyes. Joe, Jordan, Camille, Leo. Leo looks like the dude that played Renegade. So I'm giving it to him or Mike right now because they're the only two hippies out of their element. And as I scroll down, I don't see anybody else who's going to win. So, excuse you. Leo, you get the nod because you look like the creepiest guy on the panel. Not only do you have long hair, a creepy smile, and a bad beard, but you look like the guy from Renegade, and the guy from Renegade always wins, if you know what I'm saying. There you go, Mega Dads. Next question, or questions. A lot of questions. Trash Turkey asks, which year sounds more futuristic, 2020, 2025, or 2030? I'm going to say they're all horrible. None sound futuristic at all. 2020 is a TV show. 2025, or in 2030. I don't like either of them. I want something that ends in like a 3 or a 7. Maybe like 2027, 2057. Either of those work really well. Ryan Craig at Mathman1024 in the year 2525. It's a reference I don't get. So let's jump down to more questions from Trash Turkey. Favorite cartoon? Growing up, I had two of them, Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead. Favorite candy? Ooh, not candy corn because that shit, not only does it taste bad, sticks to your teeth. And I've had too much dental work, so I'm not allowed to eat anything that's all sticky and the teethy, if you know what I mean. In general, not a big candy fan, so I'm going to go with something hard that I can suck on. How about an old-fashioned Jolly Rancher? Favorite sketch comedy TV show? What was it? Exit 57? Was that the show where the guy walked around? I'm going to dip my balls in it. That one was one of my favorites. Favorite t-shirt? I'm going to have to say right now it's the one my wife hates the most. It's the one that I have a zombie donut in. And favorite 80s or 90s catchphrase? I don't know. Michelle Tanner, DJ Tanner, whatever. You got it, dude. How about, hey, 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 it's Fat Albert. That one's topical, right? Everybody loves Bill Cosby. What was the last book you read? This next set of questions coming from Ryan Craig at Mathman1024. Last book I read, I haven't finished it yet, but it's the Walking Dead, The Road to something, something, something. It's the story of the governor, the first in that series. Favorite breakfast cereal? I'm gonna be dating myself way, way, way back machine on this one, but I used to love the Pac-Man cereal, which essentially was Kix with marshmallows. They had the ghost marshmallows. That was really awesome. Dungeons or Dragons? Now, I've played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and while Dungeons are kind of creepy They're dark, they're dingy, and all kinds of weird, nasty shit is lurking in there, just waiting to come and get you. Dragons are pretty cool. You could befriend a dragon. Maybe I am the Khaleesi. I could turn into a hot chick that controls dragons and gets them to bite other people's heads off. Maybe I have a really small, tiny pet dragon who lives in this house with me, and he fits in my pocket. So, what I trained him to do, and by trained, I mean I found out he does this, and I'm taking credit for it. What I trained him to do is he flies around the house and he collects all the loose change that people are dropping, all the loose change that is hiding in my 12-year-old's pants, stuff that falls in the dryer, stuff that falls in between the couch cushions. You can look in my couch, you ain't gonna find a penny because I got this little dragon, right? When we're out and I'm taking him for a walk, any loose change, he spots it. He keeps it, he puts it in his magic bag, he brings it home. And in fact, that magic bag currently needs to be filled back up because I took it and I cashed it in, and I gave myself some Amazon credit. So my little dragon, he's a little bit pissed off at me because that's his treasure. And I know that when he gets bigger, he's planning on killing me or waiting until I'm asleep and coming up and then like breathing fire on my balls and roasting Chester's nuts. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, dragons. What were my first 3 game systems? First system I ever had was Pong. Boop, 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 boop. Had a switch on it. You could turn it to hockey, which just added extra interference. Really crappy. After that, I had an Atari, where I specifically remember playing E.T. and wondering what happened, why my parents hated me. But you know what? I was a kid and I put a lot of hours into E.T. because, well, when you're a kid, you just play whatever you got, right? So after that, somewhere, somehow ended up with an NES. And it was at that point that my love for video gaming really took off. Super Mario Brothers 3. Yeah, got that. Got the Nintendo Power magazine. Learned all the tricks and trades. And, with like ET, I played that game for like hundreds of hours. And I'm not sure I ever accomplished anything. Yes, it does mean extra terrible, Ryan. The game was god awful. However, I wish I had my copy still. But, with Super Mario Brothers 3, when I played that game, I learned every in and out, and I beat it a million times. I beat it with every suit imaginable. I would, like, the frog suit was probably the hardest one. Beat it with the frog suit just so that I could restart level 1-1 with the frog suit going on. Used to play 2 players with a buddy where we would take turns, and when they weren't around, I would play 2 players with myself taking turns. Just running through the entire game level by level so that if somebody showed up, they could always take over for Luigi. Maybe I went a little too far into that. What are my top 3 favorite movies? I'm going to list my favorite movie ever as, and this is really too hard, so I'm just going to go back to Teenage Me. Natural Born Killers. It's an often overlooked movie where Woody Harrelson shaves his head bald and goes on a killing spree with Juliette Lewis. Really, really love that movie. It's, also loved Seven, which was in the same vein of, lots of death and murder and destruction. Back when we were allowed to like Kevin Spacey, even though he was a creepy bad guy. I'm going to lump pretty much every single Marx Brothers movie into my top 3 movies because the Marx Brothers, especially Groucho, was the key to me surviving high school. Hold on a second. When I was younger, that's where I started to develop my, let's call it, sense of humor, which I don't even know if I have one anymore now that I'm married with children and the wife doesn't give me permission. But my first real tattoo ever, Groucho Marx. Maybe I'm revealing a little too much. I would show you the one on my butt cheeks, but I don't know if I can turn around and bend over and show that to the camera. So, I don't know. I have too many movies to make a top 3. How did I meet my wife? Great question, and probably the most serious on here. So, back in the old days when I started, I don't know what you're talking about. Back in the old days when I first started working for Lowe's, I was living in Erie, Pennsylvania, and completely hated it. The weather sucked. I'm a fat guy with asthma, so in the summer, I'm allergic to trees. I'm allergic to cut grass. I'm allergic to pretty much anything that's outside. It's an awesome Groucho Marx tattoo, is it not? Did you not see it? I'll show it again. There it is, first tattoo. So, shying away. I have a horrible fear of needles, and yeah, I know he doesn't have a cigar, and that was probably one of my problems. I should have got a cigar tattooed with him in his mouth. Very classic, but that tattoo actually comes from a stamp collection during one of those Fall of Russia things. They had a one of those random former Soviet Union countries had a stamp collection called Marx and Lenin, or Lenin and Marx, which was John Lennon and Groucho Marx instead of the other two. So I bought that, and then when I decided to get my first tattoo to try to get over my fear of needles, well, I decided Groucho Marx. What better? It fitted my personality, you know? I passed out in the middle of it, and that's when I learned that Skittles and Mountain Dew were a good thing and to keep my blood sugar at a normal level. But yeah, not afraid to admit that. So, back to how I met my wife. I needed to get out of Erie because the weather sucked. So, I transferred out here to Las Vegas, Nevada. And when I was searching for stores to transfer into, I mistakenly thought that a certain store had more LP assigned to it, which meant that it was a higher volume store. But really, what it meant was they had a lot more theft, and it was more of a low income neighborhood. But that's the store I transferred into. And my wife was working there at the time. She was a cashier. She ended up transferring to the floor. We ended up becoming good friends. I was in a relationship with a crazy lady. She was in a relationship with a crazy dude. And, you know, we had a good friendship. And over time, I changed stores. And, you know, we just ended up reconnecting. So when I was either running out of relationship status and she was pretty much doing the same thing, we were hanging out with each other, keeping each other sane. And, you know, one thing led to another, and she convinced me to get married, have a couple of babies, and buy her a house. I'm not going to say that I was drunk, but I'm pretty sure that's how that story went down. And finally, how did I meet Trash Turkey? Well, that son of a gun. Yeah, it was really just through Twitter. I'm a dude living in Vegas. He's a dude living in closer to the East Coast, somewhere out there. I ain't gonna say where it's at because that'd be pretty rude if you don't want it to be revealed. You know what I'm saying? But you know, he listened to some of the same podcasts. He would do some write-in questions, or he did some guest spots on. It was either Shelved and Forgotten, or Forget Being Cool, or How Dave Met Johnny, or you know the Love Connection show that they had going on, whichever one. And then when I was thinking about trying to do a podcast where, you know, maybe it wasn't going to be very consistent once a month or something because family life and children and, you know, work, I ain't got time. I don't have that regular schedule like some people who work like Monday through Friday or work like Tuesday through Saturday or whatever, but they work the same shift or have the same days off. So, you know, he sent me a message. He's like, hey, I'm looking to do something. It has to be family friendly. And I was like, whoa, I can't do that shit. But I caved in eventually. And we decided that since we were both poor, we decided to focus on doing old games and doing a backlog. And we laid out some interesting ideas, some that won't be coming until, you know, the end of the first year. We just had a whole bunch of random ideas and we started, you know, recorded a test one. We met up with Johnny and Dave, and, you know, Dave to help us with the hosting. I'm pretty certain a homeless guy doing a live show could get hosted at Dayspace, but I'm not one to judge. So, yeah, that's just kind of how it happened. Well, those are all the questions. I've gone about 14 minutes. I appreciate my one live viewer, Ryan Craig. I'm open to be able to do this maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. Just get a bunch of questions so that I can ramble on and on and on about nothing. Yeah. I'm going to take one more drink of that beer before I hang up. So if the one person watching has any more questions, I'm going to give him a couple seconds to type it out. If he types something out, I'll answer it. I'm off camera. Help me. Oh, that's better. This is the awkward part. So, anyway, I appreciate anybody who actually listens. I appreciate anybody who actually watches. I want to thank Trash Turkey. I want to thank Ryan Craig, and I want to thank the Mega Dads for asking the question. Oh, which is the best Back to the Future movie? Uh, uh, is there really any doubt that the first one was the only good one? After that, they started to get a little. The Back to the Future movies, kind of like the Transformer movies. At some point, they just become a little too convoluted, and they're just trying to add too much, and the camera gets shaky. Or was that Michael J. Fox getting shaky? I don't remember which one. But the first one, it was a nice, clean story. Any story about a mom and a kid almost banging and then him not existing, great story. After that, I don't know. I think it became too full of itself, and what I really need to see now is a live reading, We the Gamer Cast, or somebody doing that guy who wrote a Back to the Future script. Any movie crushes from my teenage years? My first movie crush started when I was a lot younger than a teenager. I went to the theaters and I saw E.T. And I know I fell asleep during the movie, but I remember after that movie, I had a huge crush on Drew Barrymore. She was about the same age as me. She was cute. She was blonde. Obviously, crushes when you're a kid mean a whole lot different than when you become a teenager. But as I got older and into my teenage years, Drew Barrymore consistently stayed one of my crushes. When she did Playboy, when she had the drug problems, when she did really bad Adam Sandler movies, I pretty much watched them all. But now that she's either married with children or just old with children, I still think she's hot. I still have a huge crush on her, but main crush purposes, maybe that was taken over by Alyssa Milano, who I'm pretty certain if you've got a wiener, you have a crush on Melissa Milano at some point in your life. Other crushes. Um, what was the chick's name from the Spider-Man movie? Kirsten Dunst. I really, really enjoyed Kirsten Dunst, and I thought that she was she was hot, but she was more obtainable hot. She was kind of like that girl next door where, that is somebody who could exist in your hometown and you could have a shot going on a date and taking her to the local Tasty Freeze until she left you for somebody who was skinnier and played sports. Elizabeth Shue from Karate Kid movie. Yes, she was also adorable. To be honest, the only thing I can remember from the Karate Kid movie, other than wax on, wax off, and the crane kick, is the two main stars of that. For some reason, everything else draws a blank to me. I would have to go back and watch it. What I really want to do is wait until the first season's over and watch that YouTube Red Karate Kid thing that they did. Get the free trial for a week or two and just go through and watch that because I heard it was pretty good. Any other bad typings in here? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Well, I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna go play some Danganronpa 2. Hang out with the puppy who's pretty much just been hanging out all week. Appreciate you for tuning in, Ryan. Like I said, I want to do it more often, so I'm sure next time I post, you will come up with a whole bunch of really bad questions for me again. I'll try to elaborate a little bit more in the future and maybe actually look them over before I sit down, because the only one I actually looked at was the one having to deal with The Bachelor. And that's because I don't know, either John or Adam, they're a dick for doing that to me. I don't watch that kind of stuff. Anyway, toodles. Thanks for coming in, guys.